Ikaw ba, nakailang sabi na gusto ko nang mag-resign? Pero hanggang ngayon, nandyan ka pa rin sa trabaho mo. Stress, burnout, at mababang pasahod ang madalas na reklamo ng mga empleyado. Sapat nga bang dahilan ang mga ito para mag-resign? Sa pinakahuling datos ng Philippine Statistics Authority nitong Setyembre 2022, nasa 2.5 milyong Pilipino ang walang trabaho sa bansa. Kaya bago ka magsulat ng resignation letter mo, pag-isipan mo muna mabuti. Kailan nga ba ang tamang panahon para umalis sa trabaho?
Hello mga kapuso! Ako si Dr. Ana Tuazon, ang inyong kakwentuhan na psychologist sa Share Ko Lang. Tinanong namin kayo kung kailan nga ba dapat tayo mag-resign sa ating mga trabaho. Pag-uusapan natin ang inyong mga shinare kasama si Francis J. Kong, isang business speaker at recipient ng The Outstanding Filipino Award noong 2014. Hello Francis! Welcome!
Hello, Doc Ana. Maraming salamat at na-invite mo ako dito sa iyong programa. Thank you.
Now, before tayo pumunta dun sa, yun na nga, is it time? Diba? Do I stay or do I go? Or do I insist no, on getting, di ba, a promotion? Ano po yung mga napapansin yung mga attitudes, no, general attitudes ng mga Pinoy pagdating sa trabaho? Ano yung mga salient values?
Ay, hindi naman nagbabago ang attitude ng mga Filipinos or even other nationalities. Pagdating sa trabaho, meron lang konting cultural nuances, but basically they're all the same. Pag nag-i-start po kasi ang isang trabahador, they are full of excitement but lacking in experience. So nandun yung kahit nahihirapan sila out of the curiosity to learn something and to gain some experiences, nakakapagtiyaga sila. And then secondly, the second phase kicks in kapag medyo nasanay na sila doon sa kanilang ginagawa, and then boredom comes in. Kapag pumapasok na yung boredom, yan na medyong delikadong stage kasi dito nagbabago ang generational differences. So marami akong napapakinggan ng mga senior kasi I conduct training at the level of the CEOs and management and support. No? So sabi nila, bakit ba ang mga bata ngayon parang walang tiyaga, hindi katulad natin nung araw? So konting hirap lang, makwit-kwit yan. Ang sagot ko ngayon sa kanila, nag-iba na kasi ang mundo. Tayo naman nung araw, napakatiyaga natin dahil wala tayong masyadong options. Ngayon, sila napakaraming options. So one of their options is, let's just quit and then maybe we can try something else. Pero deep inside, ang hindi na-realize ng mga tao, it's repetitive work, it's boredom, and it's the absence of growth. Pero ang mga magagaling dyan, they grow themselves. Kaya marami na ho akong na-train, Doc Ana, over the years. Nakita ko na batang-bata pa naging vice president na, pero nag-umpisa siya when she was saying na, you know, I'm not growing in this company anymore. Yung iba naman, wala kaming training dito eh. Hindi ako nabibigyan ng bagong assignment. Ngunit, after a while, nakita ko, ang bilis nilang umasenso because they realize it's not the problem of the company. Hindi responsibilidad ng company to make us grow. We have to grow ourselves. Then we help the company grow. Kaya marami rin akong kilala mga andyan na sila top level na. They've never been given an opportunity to train in any seminar when they were starting in their career. But they make it their own business to grow. Kaya kapag may growth ka, merong excitement. Ang tawag ko dito, you are a forever rookie. You are a perennial learner.
So we asked ang mga kapuso kung ano yung mga reasons nila for resigning or quitting their work. So merong isang kapuso, ang sabi niya, sa mga katrabaho na kung makaasta, parang tagapagmana ng kumpanya. So about yung mga co-workers, no? At is something similar, sabi din ng isa nating kapuso, minsan kaya umaalis yung iba dahil sa mga toxic nakatrabaho. So they're talking about their co-workers, their peers. Tayong mga Pinoy, at least from a psychology standpoint, very interpersonal tayo. Our relations matter
Correct.
a lot. In fact, sinasabi ko nga sa
Oo.
Pilipino, and not just for us, actually even in other cultures, 'di ba? Hindi completely separated ang business sa personal. So kung maganda ang relationship, pwedeng maganda ang business. Kung masalimuot ang mga relationships sa office, it can really affect our business goals or career goals. Ano pong masasabi niyo about that reason? Because of my coworkers, dahil hindi ko gusto or toxic sila.
Ito ang sinasabi ko. Just because you have a job, never fool yourself into thinking that you're working for somebody else. Kung ikaw ay may trabaho, the most important benefit is how are you becoming as a person because of your job. Madali lang naman sabihin, toxic siya, toxic ito eh. Ayun na naman, dito sa social media, ito na naman. Kasi the place is toxic. Teka muna, have you ever asked yourself the question, why is it toxic? Hindi ko dinidiscount na talagang may mga bosses at mga managers na malakas ang impact. Sa Tagalog, mukhang impacto. Hindi marunong humawak ng tao. Pero, have you ever reflected that perhaps I'm contributing to the toxicity in the workplace? Siguro ang isang bagay na dapat uunahin sa ating pagtatanong is the most important question that a lot of people never dig deep into to asking themselves why. That word why is extremely important. So, kinakailangan makapag-reflect ka. Ngayon, ang isang contributory fact is that masyadong laganap ngayon ng social media. May mga fake gurus na nagpo-post ng mga kalokohan mga post na halimbawa, itong nabasa ko, kaya umiinit ang ulo ko. Sabi niya, if you're not happy with your job, quit your job. You don't deserve unhappiness. Sabi ko, really? Now, itong tanong ko, do you know why that person is saying that? Because he probably doesn't have a job. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Every single person na umasenso sa buhay will never tell you they're doing their job excellently because they want to be happy. Every single person na umasenso sa buhay in the long run, hindi yung short intermittent successes, will tell you that despite the ordeals or the trials, they stuck to what they believe should be done. Kung tayo naman ay napapaligiran ng mga tao masyadong toxic at makikwit ka, bakit? Sigurado ka ba mapupunta ka sa isang lugar na walang toxic people? Sa loob lang ng pamilya mo, baka may kasama ka mga toxic people eh. So the question now is not to find yourself in a sanitized, sterilized environment, but how do you develop yourself to withstand toxicity, learn the lessons so that you will not become a toxic person yourself, and to develop your magic words, people skills. Kasama yan sa success formula ng bawat isa sa atin.
Naku, parang tama kasi toxic is such a buzzword na actually when my own clients or even my students parang tell me toxic, sabi ko, tell me what that means. Diba? Parang sabihin mo sa akin, anong itsura nun? Ano yung mga behaviors na nag-struggle ka, mga interpersonal relationships, and then figure out anong diskarte. Now, that's a very Filipino concept. Na parang, kaya mo bang diskartehan kung merong high, very demanding client? Right?
Yes,
so, parang, or very tight, inflexible deadlines. Not because gusto ng boss mo inflexible, pero that's the nature of the job. So, parang sasabi nyo na people skills.
Saka, when you enter into business, sigurado ka bang yung customer mo hindi toxic? I mean, we were surrounded by a lot of people whom we may not be in agreement with, but that doesn't make them toxic. Maybe the challenge now is, how can I swing this opportunity and make it work in both our favor naman?
Meron akong binibigay na strategy sa mga tao minsan, no? Pag kunyari faced with the challenge, di ba? Kunyari yan, ang toxic, hindi ko alam how to get through to either my boss or coworker, etc. I tell them to put the word yet. Kunyari, I haven't solved this problem yet. Para lang, hindi nila maisip na toxic once, toxic forever.
Mhm. Ano ba ang possibility dito that I can flourish or perhaps I can even change the environment? But quitting is never the solution. Pag quit mo, alis ka nga dyan. But you have not done anything about your own character at hindi ka nag-grow. So for me, there are legitimate reasons why you have to quit your job. But emotional decisions are never the most reliable ones.
Parang same advice could be applied to relationships and families, sir. Di ba?
Oo nga, di ba? Oo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always tell my clients, no, parang any life-changing decisions need to be done calmly after you regulate muna either your anger, your upset, or if you're too sad or too lonely, di ba? Parang, let it pass
Or
muna.
too happy.
Too happy.
Even when you're too happy, don't decide. Madali ka ma-scam yan.
Kasi marami din po kaming nakuhang response na emotion-based. Specifically stress. No? That's another one. And of course, that's something I hear a lot as a psychologist. Yung stress, burnout. No? Ang sabi po ng isa nating kapuso, they even offered a huge salary increase. Pero ayoko na talaga. There's no point earning that much kung mababaliw naman ako sa sobrang sama ng loob and stress. This other kapuso, mas specific yung, shinare niya kung ano yung ginagawa niya. My last duty as caregiver, hindi lang stress and burnt out. Kung hindi pa ako aalis, baka ako ang mamatay. Parang medyo emotionally at the edge na sila, no? Parang yun yung description. Pag ganun na talaga, yun, sabi niya nga, don't do it for emotions. And yet, at the same time, if there are such strong emotions, no, and such strong expressions of suffering, what can we tell them?
In case na number one, kahit dagdagan na yung sweldo mo, pero kung halimbawa yung immediate boss mo naman ay hindi marunong na magbigay ng konting sanity sa iyong career life, feeling niya he or she owns you at gusto niya, wala na akong pakialam sa personal life mo, basta ikaw ay akin, we have a problem there. Why? The problem is with the manager, not with you. Therefore, here's the key. Kaya ka nga dinadagdagan ng sweldo because they find value in you. So, kung depende sa organization, may mechanism naman yan eh. The first important thing is you have to talk with respect and kindness. And you have to check 3 things bago ka makipag-usap dun sa boss mo. Number 1, you have to make sure it's the right timing. Huwag mo ita-timing na kailan mainit ang ulo niya tsaka mo kakausapin. Number 2, you have to make sure that you have the right words. I-prepare mo muna yung sasabihin mo in a very sane, rational, reasonable, and respectful manner. And number 3, you gotta make sure you have the right spirit. In communications kasi, we understand each other. We can see beyond what is being said. Ang tawag natin dyan, there's a transference of spirit that you can immediately sense. Diba? So, and then talk to the boss. I really love to work with you. But the pace na ginagawa mo sa akin is, I cannot bear. I will have to sacrifice other things that are more valuable than this one. Can we come to an arrangement? At nakahanda ka na. In everything, prepare your case. Build a case. Pero kung ayoko na, mamamatay na ako, nasaan yung case mo? Maaaring tama ka nga, pero hindi ka na maintindihan. Siguro the boss will easily say, I'm a reasonable person, but you're not telling me, so how would I know? In the other case naman, sa caregiver na yan, kung minsan kasi may mga pasyente talagang medyo mahirap, but you have to also exercise empathy in understanding that person needs care because of that particular situation. Ngayon, ito naman to balance it. If you don't have the tolerance for that, and it is affecting your own health, you gotta quit. Because you gotta take care of yourself muna. But then realize upon quitting, how do I reflect on my past experience and learn on how to strengthen my resolve? So, there are so many productivity tools and ideas out there that can help us. So, importante din yung pinifilter natin yung mga bagay na pumapasok sa isip natin. Doc Ana, you know this very well. Everything starts here. Even the Bible is very clear there. Sabi niya, do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Change begins from here. Kaya filtered na filtered to. Hindi basta-basta nakakapasok ang impormasyon na hindi nakakapag-add value sa aking success goal sa buhay.
Na-imagine ko po na parang yung, kasi iba po kasi yung, syempre there's real genuine mental health concerns and issues.
Of course, yes.
And I think ang napapansin ko naman as a mental health professional is that people stop at the expression of the concern. Parang ituloy natin, di ba? So when I do talk to managers din naman, etc., ituloy natin towards what can help, di ba? What can address the concern, how can we do both. Now, kung napansin natin, hala, hindi ko alam paano mag-respond or I am not coping with this in a way that I feel like I'm growing, that I feel like I'm thriving, then at that point, I think pwedeng personal work, I'm gonna go get help, I'm gonna go get advice, no? Get a consult. Pwede rin through work, and I've advised this to many of my clients to say, communicate with your team leader, na communicate with your team. Kasi better na you tell them what you're struggling with. Kasi ito, napansin ko po sa Pinoy, no, if I may generalize, kinikim-kim until hindi na kaya. So I really encourage them as part of good mental health response, di ba? If you want your mental health concerns validated, di ba? You want this genuinely addressed. It's not about saying, kasalanan mo, kaya ganito ang mental health ko. It's about, I am struggling, sir, ma'am, I'm struggling. And in fact, sometimes we realize, it's the lack of structure. That's why, di ba? Kasi kung walang deadlines, walang step-by-step, parang medyo tinatamad sila kasi they can. So sabi ko, ask for advice, ask for interim deadlines and check-ins if that's what you need. If the team, for example, can afford that kind of guidance. So minsan we can work with it even though parang yes, we're doing it in therapy, and I'm encouraging them to practice those kinds of help-seeking skills, collaboration skills, no, problem-solving skills at work.
There are legitimate mental health cases that need professional help. Malaking factor talaga yung immediate boss. We have to realize that in everything that we do, we are responsible for our actions and responsibility as well. So, ito yun. Kaya nga sumikat yung isang K-drama na ang title is, It's Okay Not to Be Okay. Pero dagdagan natin, but it's not okay to stay not okay forever. So, you have to be able, as you said, tell your managers that you need help. And the managers and the leaders should be able to inform their team and say, asking for help in this unnatural environment and circumstance is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of transparency and humility and trust. So, let me know what I can do to be able to help you.
Well-being, it's not simply the absence of an illness, di ba? Hindi parang, hindi ka burnout, okay ka na. Di ba? Kailangan, sabi mo nga, may thriving, may sense of growth. So sabi ng isa nating kapuso, stagnant na sahod at walang growth. Daming responsibility at nagsisitaasa na yung bilihin, pero yung sahod, ganun pa rin. So this is very practical reality kung hindi na kaya ng salary. Maliit ang sahod, kulang pa sa pamasahe at kain sa isang araw. And then another kapuso, sabi niya, nag-resign to explore other surroundings and to experience other kinds of work. So siguro ito mix, no? Mix ng practical. You know, salary is a big factor, let's face it.
Yeah.
Talaga naman. I mean, why do we work ultimately? Is to earn, di ba? Is to earn money. And then yung isa, yun, to explore other things. Kasi medyo stagnant na, pare-pareho na. So,
minsan, yes.
What do you think about that?
Well, minsan kasi, hindi kompleto ang picture. Pag sinasabi halimbawa ng isa, yung sahod ko lang kulang na sa pagkain na transportation ko, paano yan? So my question now is, why are you still there? That means either you're borrowing money to sustain your work, and that's not a sustainable thing, di ba? Minsan naman, hindi kompleto ang story. Salary ko lang ay kulang na sa transportation at pagkain during these difficult times dahil may pay cut lahat. So, nangyayari sa negosyo yan. So, if the complete story is lahat tayo sacrifice na muna because it's the responsibility of the business to maintain operations by not letting you go. They don't want to let you go but we sacrifice. Yung ginawa namin yun eh. Pero ngayon, nag-restore na lahat. And there were people in our companies who volunteered a pay cut in order to help those who cannot afford. So, kompletuhin natin yung story. Secondly, for me, if you say that what you are doing ay stagnant ka na, you have to go back to the question, why have you been stagnant? Because of the load of work na ginagawa sa akin ay marami. Therefore, that doesn't give you the leeway to grow. I think you have to reframe that. Because in the first place, in business, ito yung long-term view, any practice and work that is repetitive in nature will be automated. Ulitin ka yan. Kung ang trabaho ay sa dami ng load at paulit-ulit, darating ang araw, matatanggalan ka rin ng trabaho kasi i-automate na nila yan. So, robotics, artificial intelligence, self-learning machines, so forth and so on. Kaya, responsibility natin to be able to learn and to get additional competence so that I find myself invaluable, that you cannot replace me and ready to take on the next challenges, that you're supposed to give me a higher pay for it. And if you don't, the market is ready to get you. So either way, kung ako nag-grow, ako yung nagbe-benefit eh. Kung hindi naman ako nag-grow, I can give you 1,000 reasons why I'm not growing anymore because of this work that is being dumped on me. I'm not saying that the manager is wrong. However, you cannot afford to stay in a condition called stasis. Wala ka ng movement eh. You have to do something about it yourself. So, those are the reasons why I start with saying you need to ask yourself the question, why? And reflect upon it and get some help, get some advice, and get mentors to help you too. Alam mo, isang bagay talagang hinahanap ng mga ng business. They want to see people who shows creativity and initiative. Why? You and I are now living in a world wherein ideas are the currencies for the future. Eh ngayon, kung ikaw naman tahimik kasi ayaw kong sabihin ng mga kasama ko na ako'y sip-sip o ano, eh wala talagang mangyayari sa buhay natin yan.
And even if, kunyari, talagang, okay, dito na, hanggang dito na lang ako with this particular company and I want to move elsewhere. From again, the therapy standpoint, I tell them, basta don't leave, don't quit empty-handed. So, not so much money and stocks, you know. So sabi ko, if you're gonna leave, make sure meron kang impressive things on your CV,
Perfect.
meron kang good job interview story that shows your skills, kung anong natutunan mo. So even if it's not the work for you, and maybe there's another career ahead of you, may makukuha ka pa rin eh. Yung sinasabi niyo, sir, di ba, yung growth mo, that you take that with you eh. From one job to the next. What skill sets, competence you develop. Kahit man hindi na-appreciate ng ating former, current employers, sa'yo yan forever. Hindi yan mawawala.
Perfect.
Madadala sa next
Perfect.
one.
Alam mo, ito nakakatawa Dokana. Sabi nila, 2 bagay ang pinakamalaking kasinungalingan na makikita mo sa mundo. Number 1 is the resume and number 2 is the exit interview. So, tama ang sinabi mo eh. So, nag-i-interview ka na for your next job. Pag sinabing, ba't ka umalis sa last company? Kasi may mental health issue ako. Mahahire ka ba niya? I don't think so. So, we have to fix ourselves so that we are healthy. Para sa akin, 2 reasons lang kung bakit dapat mag-quit yung tao sa kanyang job. Number 1, you are being forced to do things that are unethical, illegal, and immoral. Quit right away. Huwag ka na mag-isip, huwag ka na magkonsulta pa. Quit. Because you don't want to find yourself being violated because it is being done against your value, and worst, you don't want to become part of the system and become like them. You're worth more than that. And secondly, when you're working with a company na alam mo yung industry na yon ay bumabaksak na at wala ng future. A very good example there is for itaktatrabaho ka pa rin sa isang typewriter manufacturing company, lumayas ka na dyan. Wala nang merkado dyan. Kaya importante sa bawat isa sa atin, yung inaaral natin, aware tayo sa situation, and we keep our skill set always marketable. Kung ayaw naman nila i-honor ang aking competence, the market will always be ready to get me.
Naku, Francis, thank you so much. No?
You're
I know
welcome.
you gave us
You're
so
welcome.
much information in a short amount of time. Alam ko, sabi ko nga, di ba?
Thank you.
Because it's a lot about skills, it makes sense. Na really, this takes time. Huwag po tayo masyadong impatient. No, let's work on these skills. Hindi naman to necessarily natural sa ating lahat. It requires practice, no? And hopefully the structure and support to be able to practice that. Ayan.
Correct.
Oh, thank you
Thank you.
again, Francis,
Thank you
for
for having
that.
me. Thank you.
Yeah.
Salamat. Thank you.
Kung may gusto kayong pag-usapan, mag-iwan lang ng comment below or email us at sharekolang@gmanews.tv. We're also streaming on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. Thanks for tuning in.